Welcome to the podcast about investing in startups, where existing investors can learn how to get the best deal possible. And those that have never before invested in startups can learn the keys to success from the venture experts. Your host is Nick Moran, and this is The Full Ratchet.
Welcome back to The Full Ratchet. On today's special segment of Investor Stories, the investors address industry trends, sectors, and markets that they think are positioned for outsized returns in the future. This is the segment called What's Next? In this special segment, we have Mamoon Hamid of the Social Plus Capital Partnership. Mamoon, are there any big sectors or trends that you see on the horizon that you think could have significant impact? And if so, could you pick out one and talk about it?
Sure, yeah. So we do a lot of investing around healthcare, education, and financial services. And I would call out our thesis in sort of education as one we're really passionate about. And that's our desire to invest in skills as opposed to degrees, and learning on demand as opposed to learning once and then that lasting a lifetime. And so really, we think that education is really kind of messed up. We think that over the next 10, 20 years, if you're going to meet the skills gap, you're going to do a lot of things very differently in education. So we've built a really nice portfolio around bridging the skills gap and creating on-demand learning experiences and consumerizing edtech as well. If you go into a school today, you'll find that there's not much technology being used. And if you're a teacher in a public school, you're really paying for the technology yourself as opposed to having the school subsidize it. So there's a lot of stuff that's really broken in education, and we really take it to heart to make a dent there.
On today's Investor Stories segment, we have Charlie O'Donnell of Brooklyn Bridge Ventures. Charlie, are there any big sector changes, thermals, or trends that you see on the horizon? And if so, can you select a couple that may have significant impact or experience outsized growth in the coming years?
I think in general, what is being considered to be venture backable is widening in a good way. Actually, venture capital used to be three main categories. It was IT, biotech, and retail and consumer products, like the PF Chang's and Blockbuster. They were like venture-backed companies. There were some really terrific venture investors that used to do these types of deals. One of the best was a guy who actually just passed away a couple of years ago named Jerry Gallagher. Absolutely terrific retail investor. In the late 90s, if you weren't doing the dot-coms, you were basically underperforming relative to your peers. And so a lot of people switched over, or the retail-specific funds kind of died out because they didn't have the same kind of performance, and no one jumped back into that category. Now you're starting to see a little bit of that, where you have Blue Bottle Coffee got venture-backed. Some of the e-commerce players have started breaking into some physical retail. You've seen companies like SoulCycle and Shake Shack have huge exits, and you got some of the VCs thinking, hey, wow, wait a second, we would have liked to have been angel investors in some of those companies. And so a lot of VCs are kind of looking over their shoulder to creating experiences around physical spaces. You look at a company like Tough Mudder, which never took any angel money and is doing well north of $100 million in revenue. And so those types of models where you say, well, there's not a lot of technical achievement there, but they probably acquire most of their users online just like anybody else, and efficient, scalable, well-margined business model. I think VCs are opening up to a lot of different things. Actually, which just got announced today is I led an investment in a food company called Hungry Root. And they make packaged food, which right now is mostly dominated by the cruddy frozen dinners you get in your supermarket aisle. And this is super fresh, vegetable-based meals that have a 10-day shelf life and a 7-minute prep time. And it's incredibly convenient, and they're delicious and healthy. We've seen a huge first month for the company, and so it's really exciting. And yes, there's technology that goes into how they package their stuff and the distribution process, and all the orders are online, but it's food. Let's kid ourselves about what it is that we're selling, and it's a huge category. I mean, people are looking for healthier, faster, more convenient options.
On today's special segment, we have Tom Tungus. Tom, are there any big sector changes or trends that you see on the horizon? And if so, can you talk about what may have significant impact and or what's positioned for outsized growth in the coming years?
I think machine learning, deep learning is a big trend. What's really great is there have been a bunch of technology advances that the big companies like Google and Facebook and Baidu and others have really advanced. And like the deep learning stuff is interesting for that. But even just basic machine learning really hasn't been applied at scale to software companies. The most successful manifestation of it so far is probably RelateIQ, which is a company that Salesforce bought that has some intelligence around extracting data from your email and your calendar in order to update your CRM records. But I think machine learning is really going to infiltrate a lot of different software. I mean, every different piece of workflow software should be recommending to the person who logs in what you should be doing today, right? Whether it's calling the set of customers or the set of patients. And so I think that's a really big trend that we really haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I recently purchased an Echo.
Oh, what do you think?
I think it's cool so far. I'm really anticipating what's coming.
Yeah.
To your point on machine learning, and I want to see where it can go, if it can adapt and learn, and have sort of that negative latency decision making.
Yeah, I mean, I think speech is another really big area that's deep learning is going to impact a lot. Did you see this movie, Her? Did you watch that movie?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing, set the story aside for a second. The thing that I love about that movie is the human-computer interaction. Like the fact that the guy, he's writing love letters and he's just talking to his computer. He dictates this letter and then he says print, and then the printer prints, right? Or he says play a melancholy song in the elevator, and it plays a melancholy song and it reads his email. And like if you use Android, that we're really close. Like I have a Nexus 6 and I can say to my Nexus 6, okay, Google, play Coldplay on Spotify, right? Or, okay, Google, what's the weather today? Or, okay, Google, remind me to buy milk when I get to the Safeway,
yep.
Right? And it will do all those things, right? And so it's I think that's going to be a transformative wave.
Agreed. I love it so much. It's been super helpful to me so far. And when they get it integrated with my personal task manager,
yeah,
I use Remember the Milk, so right now I'm transporting all my messages from Alexa over to it, but when they make that add-on, it's going to be even better.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
That will wrap up this installment of Investor Stories. Head over to thefullratchet.net to leave a comment, sign up for the newsletter, or find resources discussed on any of the episodes. Until next time, remember to over-prepare, choose carefully, and invest confidently. Thanks for listening.